The thing is like these gaps in wrestling, you know, these gaps in grappling. When a guy's a really good grappler, and then you're taking on a guy like Dricus, who's really a striker.
Right.
He's a good grappler, a good jiu-jitsu guy. But there's levels, you know? And the kind of guy like Khamzat, like, man, you got to be a fucking Olympic caliber wrestler to scrap with that guy.
Yeah, I think so. I think just that first round type of crazy onslaught that he brings to the table and the pressure that he brings early in a fight is very, very difficult.
Like when they first get hit with that 100-mile-an-hour strength and speed and confidence, as well as the skills to back it up, they find themselves crammed into the corner.
When people discuss Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev, most conversations immediately focus on striking, trash talk, and personality clashes. But beneath all the hype lies one terrifying reality that continues haunting the middleweight division. Nobody truly understands how to deal with Khamzat Chimaev once he starts wrestling. That is the real nightmare. The gap between ordinary grapplers and truly elite wrestlers is massive in mixed martial arts. Many fighters possess good takedown defense. Many fighters train jiu-jitsu and scrambling techniques. But there are levels to wrestling, and Khamzat Chimaev exists at a level most UFC fighters simply never experience. Analysts repeatedly compare him to Olympic-caliber wrestlers because his pressure, timing, and control look completely different from normal MMA grappling. When Chimaev explodes forward early in fights, opponents immediately feel something unusual. It is not just physical power. It is speed, confidence, aggression, technique, and psychological pressure all arriving at once like a violent storm. Fighters suddenly find themselves trapped against the cage before they even realize what happened. Their movement disappears. Their breathing changes. Panic begins setting in instantly. That is why so many people believe Sean Strickland's legendary durability may not matter in this matchup. Strickland is famous for his chin, pressure, and willingness to walk forward through punishment. Fans admire his toughness because he thrives inside ugly fights. He absorbs damage, keeps talking, and mentally exhausts opponents over long rounds. Most fighters eventually break under Strickland's relentless pace. But Khamzat Chimaev is not most fighters. Chimaev does not slowly build pressure across rounds. He detonates from the opening second. His entire philosophy is based on immediate domination. There is no feeling out process. No slow setup. No hesitation. From the moment the cage door closes, he attacks like someone trying to end the fight instantly. And that opening round intensity may be the scariest weapon in the entire UFC today. Many fighters become dangerous later in fights after making adjustments. Chimaev is most terrifying.
Oh, it's full control. It's like, it's no fear. It's full control. It's intensity. And it's like, he's making these guys just locked up. And so like, I'm looking at all the names and I'm like, yeah, amazing fighters. Everybody in the top 15. Okay, great fighters. Yeah. But has anybody gone in there and done what he's done to their opponents, right? Where it's just like a one-sided shutout.
Before opponents can even settle into rhythm. The first 5 minutes against him feel like surviving a natural disaster. Fighters describe it as chaos. 1 second they are standing comfortably. The next second they are pinned against the fence, dragged to the ground, and completely overwhelmed. That is why analysts keep asking the same question. Can Sean Strickland even survive round 1? Because surviving Chimaev's opening pressure is a challenge unlike anything else in MMA. His wrestling is not simply about takedowns. It is about total control. Once he grabs opponents, they stop fighting their own fight completely. Everything becomes reactive. They are no longer thinking strategically. They are just trying to survive. And survival against Chimaev is exhausting. Even elite fighters look helpless underneath him. Former champions, dangerous contenders, and elite grapplers have all struggled to stop his pressure. Chimaev does not merely beat opponents. He suffocates them mentally and physically until they look broken. That is what makes this matchup against Sean Strickland so fascinating. Because Strickland is mentally unbreakable in his own way. Most fighters become emotional, cautious, or hesitant under pressure. Strickland almost seems to enjoy discomfort. He thrives in chaos. He talks constantly, marches forward, and tries dragging opponents into ugly wars where mental toughness becomes everything. But against Chimaev, mental warfare changes completely. Normally, Strickland is the one controlling psychological pressure. He gets inside opponents' heads, frustrates them, and forces them emotionally off balance. But Chimaev represents something different entirely. His confidence is almost frightening. It does not feel performative or fake. It feels absolute. That confidence creates an atmosphere around him that many opponents simply cannot handle. When Chimaev enters fights, he genuinely believes domination is inevitable. Not possible, inevitable. That mindset changes everything. He does not approach fights cautiously. He approaches them like a predator already convinced the result belongs to him. And honestly, his performances support that belief. Looking across the middleweight division, nobody has consistently dominated opponents the way Chimaev has. Other fighters win competitive decisions, survive difficult moments, or trade moments.
He's got this impenetrable belief that we see from very few fighters, that it's just like, I can do this. Like what, like even said it to DC, like, and I think it was around the Usman fight. Like DC was like, what, are you just going to come out and like wrestle him? I mean, he's former welterweight champ and, you know, X amount of qualifications wrestling, whatever. And Chimaev's response to DC was like, what else am I going to do, brother? Like, this is what I do. His concept of fighting is complete domination from the get-go.
Khamzat Chimaev.
Chimaev often removes all competitiveness entirely. Elite opponents suddenly look frozen, trapped, and overwhelmed. That level of dominance is rare even among champions. For Sean Strickland, the biggest issue may be the enormous grappling gap. Strickland possesses solid takedown defense and underrated grappling skills. He is difficult to hold down against most opponents. But analysts continue repeating the same phrase regarding Chimaev: there are levels to this game. And Chimaev operates on another level entirely. This is not regular wrestling pressure. This is relentless chain wrestling mixed with elite physical strength, technical mastery, and terrifying urgency. Once Chimaev grabs opponents, he transitions instantly between attacks without giving space to breathe or recover. That style creates panic quickly. You want to create distance. You want to reset position. You want to land strikes and regain rhythm. But Chimaev never allows it. He stays attached constantly. Fighters describe it as drowning slowly while someone keeps pushing your head underwater every time you try surfacing. That experience cannot truly be replicated in training. Training partners can imitate wrestling. They can simulate pressure. But they cannot recreate the emotional intensity of facing Chimaev live inside the octagon. Once the real fight begins, the pressure feels different. Faster, stronger, more violent. Khabib Nurmagomedov created similar feelings during his championship run. Opponents often explained afterward that they had never experienced anything remotely comparable before fighting him. Chimaev appears to create that same overwhelming sensation. And that is why many people believe Sean Strickland is entering the most dangerous fight of his career. Still, dismissing Strickland completely would be a mistake. One reason fans love Sean Strickland is because he refuses to mentally surrender against anyone. He talks openly about violence, danger, and pressure because none of it seems to intimidate him. Even facing someone as terrifying as. You want to create distance. You want to reset position. You want to land strikes and regain rhythm. But Chimaev never allows it. He stays attached constantly. Fighters describe it
magnitudes greater than anybody else in his division.
This fight is going to be an interesting one. It's Khamzat's first title defense. Or no. Yeah, it's his first title defense, right?
as drowning slowly while someone keeps pushing your head underwater every time you try surfacing. That experience cannot truly be replicated in training. Training partners can imitate wrestling. They can simulate pressure. But they cannot recreate the emotional intensity of facing Chimaev live inside the octagon. Once the real fight begins, the pressure feels different. Faster, stronger, more violent. Khabib Nurmagomedov created similar feelings during his championship run. Opponents often explained afterward that they had never experienced anything remotely comparable before fighting him. Chimaev appears to create that same overwhelming sensation. And that is why many people believe Sean Strickland is entering the most dangerous fight of his career. Still, dismissing Strickland completely would be a mistake. One reason fans love Sean Strickland is because he refuses to mentally surrender against anyone. He talks openly about violence, danger, and pressure because none of it seems to intimidate him. Even facing someone as terrifying as Chimaev, Strickland continues acting fearless publicly. That mentality matters. If any fighter can survive ugly moments without mentally collapsing, it is probably Sean Strickland. His cardio, durability, and stubbornness are elite. He keeps moving forward regardless of punishment. That pressure could become important if the fight somehow extends into deeper rounds. But many analysts no longer believe cardio will save opponents against Chimaev. Earlier in his career, critics questioned Chimaev's endurance during longer fights against Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. For the first time, fans saw him slowing down under pressure. That created hope for future opponents. The theory became simple: survive the early storm and Chimaev will eventually fade. Now, according to people close to his camp, that weakness may be disappearing completely. Reports suggest Chimaev is training harder than ever before. His conditioning programs have reportedly become brutal. Altitude training, VO2 max conditioning, intense bike work, and extreme cardio-focused workouts are supposedly transforming him physically. If true, that changes everything. Because the scariest version of Chimaev is not the explosive first-round destroyer everyone already fears. The scariest version is a Chimaev who can maintain that same pace deep into fights without slowing.
Okay, first title defense against Sean Strickland, has Sean Strickland ever fought a really, really strong wrestler?
I looked through his resume and he has not.
Not really fought a strong wrestler, but he's known for having really good grappling, really good takedown defense, but there's just different fucking levels of grappling, and Khamzat is at the highest level. Like,
Khamzat's down. That possibility terrifies the division. Imagine trying to survive overwhelming wrestling pressure for one round. Now imagine dealing with that pressure for 25 minutes. That is the nightmare scenario opponents are facing. Sean Strickland's usual strategy relies heavily on attrition. He drags opponents into uncomfortable later rounds where his cardio and pressure become major advantages. But if Chimaev no longer fades physically, Strickland's biggest weapon may disappear entirely. That is why so many people predict an early finish. The opening round remains the most dangerous part of the fight by far. Chimaev's explosiveness combined with Strickland's lack of experience against elite Olympic-level wrestlers creates enormous risk immediately. And the danger is not limited to grappling anymore. One major misconception about Chimaev is that people still treat him like a one-dimensional wrestler. In reality, his striking has improved dramatically. He carries legitimate knockout power and has already proven capable of hurting elite fighters on the feet. Against Gilbert Burns, Chimaev showed he could trade punches in violent exchanges and still remain dangerous. He dropped Burns multiple times during one of the wildest fights of his career. That performance proved something important. Chimaev does not need wrestling to hurt people. That unpredictability makes him even scarier. If Strickland spends the entire training camp preparing for takedowns, Chimaev could surprise him with aggressive striking early. And because Chimaev can shoot for takedowns at any moment, opponents struggle relaxing during striking exchanges. That constant uncertainty becomes mentally exhausting. You cannot fully focus on defending punches because you are terrified of takedowns. You cannot fully focus on wrestling because his striking carries real knockout danger. Every second feels stressful, and stress creates mistakes. That is exactly how Chimaev overwhelms opponents so quickly. He forces mental overload immediately. Fighters start reacting instead of thinking. Once that happens, Chimaev takes over completely. Another major factor is Chimaev's mentality itself. People often describe him as a psychopath inside the cage, not as an insult, but as recognition of his mentality toward violence and competition. He appears completely comfortable.
Khamzat has really good striking. Like, really good. Let's not forget, it was one shot, put someone away at one point. Or he stood with Gilbert Burns and dropped him a few times. Yes, Gilbert landed some good shots and hurt him and dropped him too, which was a banging fight with both of them. But Khamzat can strike too. And now we're seeing videos of him going with light heavyweights. And he's kind of outstriking them, So I think it's a mentality thing. If he can switch the mentality to be
in chaos, fear does not seem to affect him. Pressure does not slow him down. In fact, pressure seems to energize him. That mentality becomes extremely dangerous in combat sports. Fighters with hesitation lose exchanges. Fighters with doubt make mistakes. Chimaev fights with total conviction from the opening second. Sean Strickland possesses his own version of controlled chaos, but Chimaev's aggression feels more primal, more instinctive, more suffocating. He does not just want victories. He wants domination. That distinction matters because domination changes how fights unfold psychologically. Opponents stop believing they can win once momentum shifts heavily toward Chimaev. That emotional collapse often happens before the physical finish itself. Against Sean Strickland, however, the challenge becomes different. Strickland refuses to mentally quit. He talks constantly about toughness, suffering, and fighting spirit because he genuinely embraces ugly battles. Even if Chimaev dominates early, Strickland will likely continue pushing forward. But the question remains terrifyingly simple. Will he even get the chance? Because against Khamzat Chimaev, many fights are decided before opponents can establish rhythm, confidence, or strategy. The opening round becomes survival mode instantly. And if Chimaev's cardio improvements are real, if his striking continues evolving, and if his wrestling pressure remains as terrifying as ever, then Sean Strickland may be facing the most complete and dangerous version of Khamzat Chimaev the UFC has ever seen. That possibility changes everything. This is no longer just a title fight. When people discuss Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev, most conversations immediately focus on striking, trash talk, and personality clashes. But beneath all the hype lies one terrifying reality that continues haunting the middleweight division. Nobody truly understands how to deal with Khamzat Chimaev once he starts wrestling. That is the real nightmare. The gap between ordinary grapplers and truly elite wrestlers is massive in mixed martial arts. Many fighters possess good takedown defense. Many fighters train jiu-jitsu and scrambling techniques. But there are levels to wrestling, and Khamzat Chimaev exists at a level most UFC fighters simply.
And the man is a psychopath. Simple as that. He's a psychopath, but that's what I love. I don't want, when I'm watching people fight in a cage for a living, I don't care if they're psychotic. I don't care if they have a screw loose. I don't care if they're a little bit, mental. And I think he might be.
I think he's a good fighter, and I think he's got a great headspace for the craft, and he knows what he does well, and he goes out there with undoubted confidence in what he can do.
Never experience. Analysts repeatedly compare him to Olympic-caliber wrestlers because his pressure, timing, and control look completely different from normal MMA grappling. When Chimaev explodes forward early in fights, opponents immediately feel something unusual. It is not just physical power. It is speed, confidence, aggression, technique, and psychological pressure all arriving at once like a violent storm. Fighters suddenly find themselves trapped against the cage before they even realize what happened. Their movement disappears. Their breathing changes. Panic begins setting in instantly. That is why so many people believe Sean Strickland's legendary durability may not matter in this matchup. Strickland is famous for his chin, pressure, and willingness to walk forward through punishment. Fans admire his toughness because he thrives inside ugly fights. He absorbs damage, keeps talking, and mentally exhausts opponents over long rounds. Most fighters eventually break under Strickland's relentless pace. But Khamzat Chimaev is not most fighters. Chimaev does not slowly build pressure across rounds. He detonates from the opening second. His entire philosophy is based on immediate domination. There is no feeling out process. No slow setup. No hesitation. From the moment the cage door closes, he attacks like someone trying to end the fight instantly. And that opening round intensity may be the scariest weapon in the entire UFC today. Many fighters become dangerous later in fights after making adjustments. Chimaev is most terrifying before opponents can even settle into rhythm. The first 5 minutes against him feel like surviving a natural disaster. Fighters describe it as chaos. 1 second they are standing comfortably. The next second they are pinned against the fence, dragged to the ground, and completely overwhelmed. That is why analysts keep asking the same question. Can Sean Strickland even survive round 1? Because surviving Chimaev's opening pressure is a challenge unlike anything else in MMA. His wrestling is not simply about takedowns. It is about total control. Once he grabs opponents, they stop fighting their own fight completely. Everything becomes reactive. They are no longer thinking strategically. They are just trying to survive. And survival against Chimaev.
Fighting Khamzat, it's just like a whirlwind. You know what I mean? You just get caught in it. You don't know really where you are. Shit's everywhere. You know, your arm's over there, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're raising Khamzat's hand.
It's horrible. You want to create space. You want to just get a couple shots off to try to change the rhythm of the fight, but you can't. The guy's stuck to you. He's on you. He's on you. And when you fight a guy like Khabib or like Khamzat, you don't get that in training. You don't feel that until it's live when that bell rings.
Is exhausting. Even elite fighters look helpless underneath him. Former champions, dangerous contenders, and elite grapplers have all struggled to stop his pressure. Chimaev does not merely beat opponents. He suffocates them mentally and physically until they look broken. That is what makes this matchup against Sean Strickland so fascinating. Because Strickland is mentally unbreakable in his own way. Most fighters become emotional, cautious, or hesitant under pressure. Strickland almost seems to enjoy discomfort. He thrives in chaos. He talks constantly, marches forward, and tries dragging opponents into ugly wars where mental toughness becomes everything. But against Chimaev, mental warfare changes completely. Normally, Strickland is the one controlling psychological pressure. He gets inside opponents' heads, frustrates them, and forces them emotionally off balance. But Chimaev represents something different entirely. His confidence is almost frightening. It does not feel performative or fake. It feels absolute. That confidence creates an atmosphere around him that many opponents simply cannot handle. When Chimaev enters fights, he genuinely believes domination is inevitable.
Before you get to round 2, 3, and 4, you got to get past round 1.
I can tell you right now, Sam Calavita is going to flip over every rock in this guy's body and genes, the way that he's made up, to make him a cardio machine. He is not going to get tired for this fight. He's doing VO2 max, altitude training, riding the bike. He's doing this crazy garage workouts with Armin. Like, I'm telling you right now, he's never worked harder in his life. And I just talked to Sam yesterday, actually, of how